everybody, my name is Tommy. You're watching my YouTube channel called Growing Old with Tommy G. So traveling is one of my favorite activities, and I thought I'd share with you my favorite cities in the world. I've not gone to many continents. I've not gone to Australia, South America, and Africa, so my cities are going to be very limited. But I have currently my top 10 favorite cities that I've visited, and I'm going to share that with you, share some videos and pictures, and then hopefully give you a couple of tips about the city and explain why that particular city is very memorable to me. Let us get started with my number 10, Bagan, Myanmar. Bagan, Myanmar is memorable to me because in 2016 I was able to check off one of the items on my bucket list, and that's balloons over Bagan. So obviously this is a balloon ride, but the most memorable experience, or why it's important to me, was because Bagan, as the city, is very spiritual. It's a Buddhist country, so there's a lot of temples in Bagan. It's littered with a lot of temples, old temples, historic temples, and they're very beautiful, right? So it's even more beautiful when you're up in the air and you're flying over them. You can see the farms below, you can see how people live down below, the farmers, the rice fields, and then the clouds rolling in, right? But I think the most unfortunate event was we weren't able to actually fly so close to the temples. So we're probably about a mile away from the temples because that day it was windy. But either way, it was still one of the best experiences I had to date as far as seeing a place from above and just feeling the beauty. Wow.
Okay, then if I could ask everybody on, and I'm going to hold on, calm down.
Chen Chen.
Chen Chen. Oh, kind of like thank you in Chinese. Xie xie.
谢谢. 谢谢 Chen Chen different.
Oh, he knows his language.
I know.
How do you
Papa, ni
say?
au soin.
How do you say thank you in French?
Merci.
Merci beaucoup.
Merci beaucoup.
In German?
Dankeschön.
Dankeschön. And you got a free postcard.
Different.
In Filipino, how do you say thank you in Filipino?
I don't know.
Salamat. One tip that I'll have for some of you, if you're traveling to Bagan, Myanmar, just expect that it's a very dusty city. So, very rugged city. I think this is the last frontier of Asia, if you will. So expect that, yes, it's going to be dusty. Expect that the toilet is not going to be Western. So bring toilet paper with you and maybe one of those disinfectant or alcohol wipes. Number 9 is Hanoi, Vietnam. So it's memorable to me, that city, because of the food culture and also Halong Bay. So it's very cliche because everybody knows Halong Bay, and to me Halong Bay was made special by our tour guide, who happens to be a jack of all trades, right? So it was very personable, young Vietnamese guy who happens to be our Tai Chi teacher, our chef that taught us how to cook some basic Vietnamese dish, and then also obviously our tour guide, and was very knowledgeable of the area. So we hired a very good food tour guide. His name is Kevin Thin. So I'm gonna put his name on this video, so that if you are looking for a really good food tour guide in Hanoi, look him up. Yeah, that's one tip. Hire a food tour guide. So that's my number 9, Hanoi, Vietnam. All right.
First, we're going to have cookers before running. So for the fried spring roll, everything's still raw. We need to cook after that, so it's meant different.
Eight. We go to Europe this time. So number 8 is Amsterdam, the Netherlands. I love the Amsterdam. Sorry, I love Amsterdam, the Netherlands, because it is such a liberal city. It's a major culture shock for me because in America there are so much restrictions, right? But when you go to Amsterdam, it's just a totally different vibe, you know. The tip that I'll give you is respect the bike lane, because this is a country where the bicyclists have their own lane, and you could mistake that lane as a pedestrian, kind of like walkway, but you can see the pathway. It's clearly marked. So, all right, so you got it. Number 7. Is that number 7? Yes, I think it's number 7. Amsterdam, the Netherlands. This is probably the very first time that any one of you have heard of a city. It's a very well kept secret, and I'm hoping we keep it that way. I don't know why I mentioned it here. I should not have mentioned it here so you guys don't go. But provincial, like really, really, really country and remote. So in relation to Puerto Princesa is the capital of Palawan. You must have heard of Palawan. It's a long stretch of island on the western part of the Philippines, right? So in that island, the capital is Puerto Princesa, and then east of that is this town called Cibaltan. It's about an hour away from Puerto Princesa. What I love about Cibaltan, I felt safe there. I felt like I was at home, right? Not that I know how to live in a country, because I didn't. When I was in the Philippines, I lived in a city, and then my experience or my memory of the countryside is where I went to school at the University of the Philippines in Los Baños, and then my great-grandma taking me to a town, Santa Rosa in Laguna. And I think the reason why I love this town, Cibaltan, is because of my childhood memory when my great-grandma would take me to this town called Santa Rosa. I would ride, the Carabao, pick mangoes, wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning with the farmers. Not that I help out, but just to tag along. So to me, that travel in Cibaltan brought back some childhood memories, and the memories of what my great-grandma had shared with me when I was a kid. So yeah, I'll show you some pictures of Cibaltan, but Cibaltan is my number 6. Don't go there, because you want to keep it pristine. All right. Number 6 is Florence, Italy. Florence to me is a beautiful city. It's very historic, lots of awesome architecture, the Duomo being number 1, and then the history behind it, and also the David. I'll show you some pictures, right? One tip that I'll give you is when you're in Florence, make sure to go to Florence with an empty luggage, almost empty luggage, because there's a lot of really awesome leather goods. All right, so that's my number 6, Florence, Italy. Number 5 is Ubud, Bali, Indonesia. So we're back to Asia. Ubud because this is a very kind of serene place. Again, it's a very spiritual country. Not country, but island, Bali. So Ubud is just the epitome of that kind of like serenity to me. You know, the quietness of the countryside. If you can, rent a driver with his own van, because the drivers are very knowledgeable of the many places around the island, right? So they take you to the right restaurants, or the best restaurants, right? Or whatever restaurant you choose, however far it is, they'll take you there. And this is another tip. When you ride a taxi, make sure that you negotiate the price right away. We got overcharged. There were 3 of us riding a taxi at night to go to a bar, and we got charged. We thought it would be only 2,000. I think it was 2,000 only. But when we got to the destination, the driver said, "It's 2,000 each." We're on to number 4. Number 4 is Tokyo, Japan. I love everything that's Japanese. It's an easy pick for me as far as a Japanese city. I love sashimi. I love the food, Japanese food. I love the people, how polite they are. So very, very easy pick for me. Tokyo is memorable to me because there's one person that I met in 2013. It was awesome. Became my translator, and my trip, my very first time in Tokyo, became very, very easy because of the translator, in the presence of a translator. So thank you. You know who you are. So thank you very much for that memorable experience. Tokyo was by far a great experience for me to date, because of the many people that I meet that are able to help me navigate through the language barriers. Number 3 is Barcelona, Spain. Barcelona, Spain is just one of those cities where you feel at home too. I think as a Filipino, we have a close affinity to Spanish culture, our history, as far as colonial history is concerned. We were colonized by the Spaniards for 333 years, so you can't help but really be, be more kind of familiar. So it's just one of those cities where you would just fall in love the minute you see it, right? Because famous architecture, I'll show you some pictures, right? And then arts, I'm not going to mention what those places are because you'll see them in the pictures. And then food. Food is great. In fact, one tip that I'll give you, and I'll put the restaurant's name on this segment, but it's a tapas restaurant that I went to during my birthday week in Barcelona, right? And I decided to sit by the bar, or at the bar, and immediately I saw a lot of Filipinos. The Filipinos were servers, right? So it was awesome. And they could see, obviously, my features, and they guessed that I was Filipino. They started talking to me in Tagalog, and they took care of me, right? There were a lot of customers, because this is one of the best places to eat there as far as tapas is concerned, right? That's what I was told. At least I yelped it. And yeah, so when I sat down, everybody was like so attentive, despite the many customers that are around. They were giving me recommendations on, you know, what food to eat. I didn't overeat, but they gave me like you know, a few really good types of tapas, right? Then right behind where the bar servers were, or the bar waiters were, was the kitchen, right? So there's a little kind of like cubby hole, and some of the titos and manangs are saying hi. You know, the guys that were cooking, they're saying hi to me. So it was kind of awesome. Friendly place in general, not just, you know, the Filipino servers, but I have a strong affinity to Spanish culture because the Philippines was colonized by Spaniards. So the reality is, you know, we know the history, we share some history together, and you know, you're familiar with the culture. You know, parts of Tagalog language or the Filipino language, the words are mostly in Spanish, right? So I could understand despite the fact that I don't speak the language, right? So, and if I get a little bit, if I try hard enough, let's just say that, if I try hard enough, I can speak broken Spanish. Alright, so that's my number 3. Barcelona, Spain.
So you get a feel of how it is to eat here. So I'm gonna eat here again tomorrow. I actually never really nice. Ambiance is good.
Bangkok, Thailand. Bangkok, Thailand is another favorite Asian city. Well, it made it to my number 2. So, you know, it would have been my number 1. But anyway, Bangkok is my number 2 because, again, I'm into polite people. It's a very polite culture. It's Buddhist, right? Very spiritual country. And Bangkok in general has a lot to offer. They have the best transportation, I think, as far as public transportation is concerned. Always smiling people. I've met a lot of like really friendly Thai that took me around, and you know, it's just one of those welcoming cities. And in fact, I am highly contemplating on retiring in Thailand, in Bangkok. So my memorable experience of Bangkok was I'm gonna keep it clean. I'm laughing. So anyway, memorable experience was I'm gonna say it would be going to, God, it's tough to keep it PG or G. Okay, let's choose another one. Alright, so Tonio and Tono, if you're listening, it's memorable to me because it took me to a jazz club this year in Bangkok, along, I think it's in the hippie town. I forgot the part of Bangkok that's hippie. But anyway, in that area where most of the expats are staying. So that was a nice gesture, so that's memorable. But to me, it's my memorable experience mostly involve people, because people add to the whole experience of a really awesome travel. So, Tonio Tono, thank you for taking me to that jazz club in Bangkok. That was a really nice gesture of you. And then also, I love your stores. So the next time I go to Bangkok again, I'm going to buy some more of your awesome creations. Alright, so that's my number 2. Number one. Very last one. My very last one happens to be Paris, France. Paris because it's everybody's favorite, right? I think. It's a very lovely city. Romantic. The minute you see Eiffel Tower, you'll be in awe, right? And of course, not just the Eiffel Tower, but the city itself. You know, every single church, whether it's a Notre Dame or a small church, you feel the history. The avenues, just walking along the avenues, you feel, you know, the history that you probably have only known by reading books or flipping through, magazines. Yeah, I remember Paris to be very romantic, but romantic in a way that I see people being romantic everywhere, like in bridges, holding hands, kissing, that kind of stuff. But it's unfortunate that whenever I visit Paris, I've gone to Paris a few times. And in fact, I celebrated my birthday week there this year. But every time I go to Paris, I'm alone, single. So that's the unfortunate part. But hopefully the next time I go to Paris, you know, I could share it with someone special. So hopefully everybody, you enjoyed my top 10 cities. I'm sure some of you have already gone to these places, may have some tips as well. So put them in comments, because tips are always appreciated by fellow avid travelers. So that is it for us, everybody. Magandang gabi, because it's evening here in America. And thank you again for watching, and hopefully I get to find more time to record some videos, because it's very challenging to find some time. We are so busy here. Everybody's busy, like at work, right? So it's a little kind of tough to find the right timing and the right kind of like frame of mind and energy to record a video. So I'm finding that out now. But at any rate, thank you very much for watching. Till next time.